There's a pull to places we aren't supposed to see. For teenagers living in predictable, safe environments, a decaying house or a fenced-off lot offers a rare interaction with something the modern world hasn't managed to sanitize. This aerial view shows the layout of a massive Cold War-era military village, a rigid grid of identical barracks that has been sitting entirely empty since 1984. This wasn't always a ghost town. In its prime, over 200 military families lived and worked here, raising children in an isolated, self-contained community. This image shows the heavy, rusted doors of a bunker left on the property. When a place this size is abandoned, the lack of official records allows local stories to fill the gap, leading to rumors of secret underground facilities and sealed laboratories. The combination of institutional secrecy and extreme isolation acts as a magnet, turning these decaying zones into a staging ground where people can test their own limits. To find the entrance, you have to navigate the edges of restricted airport property and search for unmarked, overgrown dirt roads that don't appear on a map. You turn off the car's headlights and manually lift a rusted security gate in the dark, moving quietly to avoid drawing attention to your presence on the base. Once inside, the atmosphere changes instantly. Household furniture, beds, dressers, and dining tables, is left littering the sides of the road, as if the residents were forced out in a hurry. Past that final checkpoint, the theories are gone. You're now navigating a decaying environment where the normal rules of your neighborhood no longer apply. The immediate risks of urban exploration are usually physical. The structures themselves are often in a state of advanced collapse, hiding dangers that you can't see in the beam of a flashlight. In this boarded-up house, the living room floor has completely rotted away, leaving a massive, jagged crater that drops straight into the darkness of the basement. Tucked away in a crawl space, you find items that have been sitting in the dark for decades. Boxes of diapers and baby food that have been partially eaten by rodents and covered in thick layers of dust. As you move deeper into the house, the silence is broken by a rhythmic creaking. It's the sound of weight moving across floorboards, coming from a room at the end of the hall. Looking into that room, you find an old woman with wrinkled skin, sitting in a rocking chair, humming a melody to herself while she stares out into the dark. Finding someone in a structure like this changes your perspective on the space. While you're visiting for a night of excitement, others have learned to inhabit the rot as their only form of shelter. Back at the military village, the discovery that you aren't alone triggers an immediate biological reaction. The desire to explore vanishes, replaced by the urge to get back to the car. While looking out the window of the abandoned church, you see 3 distinct shadow silhouettes moving silently across the yard of the neighboring house. You break into a sprint, the sound of your own footsteps echoing through the quiet streets of the empty village as you race toward your only way out. At the car, the situation escalates. A tall woman in a dark dress is already pulling at the door, with one leg inside the vehicle as if she were about to take your seat. When you enter an ecosystem that thrives in the dark, you are moving away from the safety of the public eye. You stop being a spectator and become someone who is highly vulnerable. Successfully leaving the building doesn't mean the experience is over. The events that take place in an abandoned space tend to linger. In this neighborhood, a hostile, isolated man dies alone. His body sits in the house for over a month before anyone notices, leaving the structure empty and heavy with his absence. When you finally break in years later, the first thing you encounter is the smell. It's a thick, overpowering odor of decay that has permeated the walls and the furniture. The man's life is frozen exactly as it was. A coffee mug sits on the kitchen table, and a book is left open with a bookmark, showing exactly where he stopped reading. A sudden, violent bang from the other side of the house shatters the quiet, sounding like someone slamming their weight into the wall. You don't wait for a second noise, you run. Hours later, you're back in your own room. You look out the window, watching the dark, empty house next door from what you assume is a safe distance. A dark silhouette appears in the man's window, moving across the glass before fading back into the shadows of the room you just left. When you force your way into a space the world has chosen to forget, you are dragging that history into your own present. You go back to your life, but you carry the uncertainty with you, leaving you to wonder if the shadows you saw were ever really finished with you.